So the day has come for me to carve into my freshly painted door. Hate to do it, but it's the way it's gonna have to happen. So obviously I got as much protection on here as hopefully I need, because it just sparks. I'm gonna try to shoot them all the other direction. But I don't know how well this is gonna show up. It kind of shows up, but this portion kind of dips down right here. I'm not saying that that's why it doesn't fit right, but that's something to kind of look at. And hopefully when it's all said and done, it's gonna be perfectly straight to match the perfectly straight up there, which you can't see right now. So this is how I do this. Put a piece of tape on there. So I have a line so I know how deep I'm carving. I'm gonna come all the way back to here. And this is probably a little bit wider than the gap I really want, because then I'll go back and I'll weld all that shut again. And then that's a process of slow, not even barely stitch welding, just little tiny little dots. I shouldn't say tiny, but you know, little 1/4 inch long little beads, you know, and just going here, going back, do it again. This isn't quite as bad because it's pretty solid up here, but if you were like, you know, down here or something like that, that'd be a bigger deal, because then you risk more warping, so you really got to be careful with heat. But I'm gonna grind this off, pull my protection off, make sure everything is good. Then I'll adjust my door so all my body lines line up, in, out, up, down, sideways, tilt, everything. Make sure that this is still gonna be okay, and then I'll go to the next step. All right, step one is done. Well, the first part of step one. Step one is shaving everything off. So I've got, show you right there, body line is looking really nice, gap is good. I had to push the back of the door back, so I got a fairly even gap. Might be a little tight here yet, so I can just tweak the whole door out just a smidge. But I'll have to readjust when I put it back on anyway, after I paint it. So, but it's touching here, so I already moved the tape down a little bit, so I gotta shave off a little more. It just touches right up in that area. So I will do a little more shaving, and I think that'll be good, because this fixed, once I got this done, I fixed this too, because this, every time I adjusted it, this gap kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. Now I'm good. So get this cleaned up, and maybe I still only have to paint the top half of the door. That'd be super awesome. Okay, I'm declaring this step done. There's a little tweaking to do, a little fine tuning, but that's fine. So now you can see, I don't know if it's gonna show up in the camera, but the body line is just a wee little bit high right now, the way I have the door adjusted. No big deal, because once I get windows and all the other stuff in here, it's gonna sag just a little bit, not much, and that's gonna open that gap up. You can kind of see, I don't know how well that, yeah, you can't really see it. I can see it, and that's all that matters. So push that down a little bit, body line lines up, the gap is nice all the way across the top. So now I'm gonna take it off. I went a little farther back here just to be safe. I don't want to put it on and regrind and blah blah blah. So I'll weld this up. I'll get it all ground out nice and everything. And before I do any fillering and mudding, as much as I hate to put the door back on and off and on and off, I ain't gonna fucking do this multiple times. So I'm gonna get it done, get it welded up, put back on there, verify everything is still good, and then undo it. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but what else do you do? Quick little tip on a situation like this, where you have to take a door off that's nice, mostly nice in this case, and you don't want to have to spend forever readjusting it, and you don't want to, like, do some people, they scratch around the hinges. Something simple, put some tape on the hinge and the door, get a Sharpie out, make a line, and this one here also helps, just because, you know, the more places you can mark, the better. And I did the same thing up top here, and hopefully then when I put it back on, it'll require a little less fine tuning. All right, back on. My gaps are looking nice, body line is good. It could, if I was gonna put it on for the final time, I would do a little fine tuning, but for making sure everything is okay, this is good. And it's hard to tell because of the colors, but the gap is pretty nice. I may want to round that corner off just a smidge, which won't take that long. But otherwise, I think it worked. I have success with that part of it, and I need to buff the whole door, but that's a different story. So I'm gonna end up just painting the top part. Gotta do a little priming, do a little filler work just in the top, just to fill in all the tiny little grooves and scratches from the grinding. And so I can show you what the inside looks like here. You know, that's cleaned up pretty nice. This is a little weird. I'll probably just seam seal that to kind of smooth it out, because that's, yeah, to make that look factory perfect is going to be damn near impossible. So that's what seam sealer's for. It kind of hides a few things, and no one's going to know it other than me, and I guess all of YouTube, but that's a different story. So there we go. I have success so far. Obviously the door is back on, so I got it all done. I have to do a little more hand buffing right there. Oh yeah, that'll show it in the camera. Little dull spot. I didn't want to get in there with the machine and buff because I fear of burning through. A little bit, same over here in this corner, but turned out really nice. Gap is still pretty decent. You know, a little snug up on front there, but that's the happy medium, I guess. I could try to push the whole door back, but that's a pretty nice gap in the back. Minus up here for some reason, it's really wide. But the other thing that I couldn't really push it back much farther, this was starting to rub right in there, so I can tap that in. I've done that before, and I actually did that a little bit already. Since I got this open, so this little roller here is plastic. The factory ones are metal, and I think these are just a touch bit bigger diameter, because both doors, they kind of snap a little bit when they pop open. I think that's, hopefully that wears in, because finding good metal ones is really tough. I have to replace or take them out anyway, because this is still the old paint and whatnot on there. It kind of looks like crap. Ford makes one that's almost the same. It's too tall, sticks out way too far. Otherwise I'd put brand new ones in. Just put the door gasket in, so it closes pretty stiff right now. That'll settle in here after a little while. Otherwise, door's good. Door's as good as you can ever realistically expect on something this vintage. And just some of the other things I saw when I was taking it apart, this one was not put together extremely well anyway. So just a few body panels not 100% lined up. I know in the box there's a couple really obvious problems. I'll deal with those later, but so it is what it is. I wish this door fit like the passenger door, because that one is spot on wonderful, but can't have everything. You want it perfect? Well then, I don't know. Not in this world anyway.